What's going on, everybody? Zack Williams back with another episode for the Men in Uncaged, and we kind of accidentally did a little series here. First we started with your responsibility to yourself as a man to be a man, then your responsibility as a man to be a good husband to your wife, and now we're going to talk about your responsibility as a man to be a good man for your children. And so this is gonna, I don't care if you're married, separated, this, that, whatever, these kids are your responsibility. And I am very, very soft spot in my heart for this topic. It's a very delicate conversation to have when you start to consider yourself, your spouse, and your children all as a dynamic. How do they move? How do they operate? Who comes first? What's the priority? And we've gone in this quote unquote series, this accidental series, for a reason. First things first is you've got to fucking take care of yourself. Second thing is your spouse fucking comes next. Your children do not come before your spouse. Now, if you're separated or divorced or baby mama situation, whatever the case is, your children are your responsibility at that point. But the moment you become husband and wife, your responsibility, your priority belongs to your spouse to be there and to support your spouse. Now, in that same breath, I do want to say that your spouse cannot be the father figure to your children that it is your responsibility to be. And especially not if y'all are separated, divorced, what have you. It is your position in this world, on this earth, in this life, to be that role for your children. Now, it's funny, I don't typically come on here without shaving or this, that, whatever, and I didn't plan this, but believe it or not, Lottie actually slept with us last night. I just wanted to take some time before we go out of town to spend some real close time with her, so we laid in bed a little bit later than we typically do, or would stay up watching some TV with her, cuddling with her, enjoying those moments. And, it's crazy to me when you have perspective shifts, because it's an inconvenience being a father. I think about life not all the time out of the desire of it. I just think about how my life would be different without them. Now, with that said, it shows me perspectives on when I'm able to have an opportunity to make sacrifices and to prioritize them. I'm not saying my life would be better without them. I'm saying it would be different. And understanding that is okay. But with that said, there's things that the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's things that I go through where I realize is an inconvenience and would be typically, if I had not come to this realization or had not been working on personal development, where I would have gotten upset out of the inconvenience. But now I look at them as blessings. I look at them as, I'm looking at something that Lottie drew on my desk in front of me right now as I'm saying this that wasn't there yesterday, right? Could that be an inconvenience? Oh my gosh, this is my office. You're not supposed to leave messes in here, but like it just makes me happy. Especially when you take into consideration mindsets on why people do this. I don't think, upon looking at this, the way it's laid up there and it's nicely folded, I don't think she maliciously walked into my office and put something on my desk to make an inconvenience for myself. Great, now I got to go over here. I got to clean up this mess before I can get to work. I don't believe that's her thought process. I believe I'm literally envisioning right now she walks through that door smiling ear to ear. She just made this beautiful piece of artwork for Daddy. And this is going to make Daddy so happy to see. But it's little perspectives on things. Now, my wife, she's very OCD on the way she keeps the house clean. I believe I talked about on this last episode, like outside of this office, that is her dominion. That is where she rules. That is where she's the boss. What she says goes inside the house, because as her role in our dynamic, in our relationship, in our family is to be the stay-at-home mom that takes care of everything else while I handle everything, with work and with the job and with the businesses and with producing revenue and income for the family. Like, this is my role and responsibility. That's hers. So with that said, like, my wife does appreciate a clean house, this is her safe haven, her environment. And, with a child, as you all know, that's not always the easiest task. And sometimes we do get distracted, to the point where myself or Lottie or whatever, we don't remember, or we're caught up in the moment and there is messes left out. And my perspective on this is there's been several times where I've had to go back and clean up after Lottie. Because maybe the situation is, Heather had her hands full, put Lottie down, went to bed, whatever. And I got a chance before going to bed, if I'm staying up later, to see something that is an opportunity for me to go out of my way and do something nice for my wife, but also, set a good example for my daughter. But again, to circle back to the point is, I'll find messes. Man, it's been a long day. I stayed up late working for whatever odd reason, or, I've put in a ton of work in the office, this, that, whatever, been busy, yada, yada. Great. Now I've got to clean up this mess before I go to bed. And that's the old me. That's the old way of thinking. I get to look at this mess, and whether it's, dresses and play jewelry and, hair supplies or whatever, and I'm like, man, that's really awesome. Lottie got to sit here and play dress up and, get to put on her favorite characters' outfits and the matching like ensemble and everything. I just get to sit there for a second and smile and envision like what her life was during this time where she was being her most creative self. Or maybe there's, coloring books and markers or crayons laid out. Like, I don't get upset about, oh, great, that's another thing for me to have to do, or that's another task on my plate. I get to appreciate the fact that these moments that I have with my daughter, these memories that we're making, this education that she's creating, this uh, her creativity, like her imagination is booming right now. Like, who am I to allow a little inconvenience in my day derail the view I have on my daughter's innocence? Like, we allow outside forces, especially us as entrepreneurs, I'll be the first to admit, problem with a contractor, problem with a vendor, problem with a client, problem with a payment processor, problem with anything. We allow this attitude or this lack of enthusiasm to reflect onto our children. What the fuck, bro? Now listen, the last few weeks have been pretty awesome inside of Uncaged, especially on the roundtable calls. Seeing some of these men come out with some of their feelings and being vulnerable and talking about their emotions and really what they're experiencing in real life situations. So I'm not talking about that level of bottling it in. We're very, very big and Uncaged about talking about how you feel and getting your emotions out there and not having to be this fucking persona of a man that the world says that we have to be, and that men don't have emotions and men don't have a say so. But like for this, like when it comes to like separating your work life and your relationship with your child, as a fucking man, that's your responsibility. She's not the reason your fucking vendors or your contractors are assholes. She's not. They're not the reason that your payment processor fucking sucks. Don't take it out on them. Don't take it out on your wife. Don't take it out on your kids. So it's been really, really cool for me to come from such a hectic daytime operating life of running these organizations and these businesses to this innocent little creature that in my heart of hearts, it's hard for me to believe is this vindictive asshole just running around trying to make life difficult for her mother and I. So I get to treat her as this innocent creature that she really is. Like I said, I mean, this piece of paper that's on my desk, like, there was no vindictive thought in that. You can't convince me that there was. But if I'm allowing outside forces to affect me as a man to the point to where I take it out on her, like, fuck me. That's my responsibility to treat her the way she deserves to be treated based on the... How many times are you going to bite the hand that feeds you? And I'm talking about to my daughter, feeding me happiness that I don't get that anymore. Bite the hand that feeds me. Why did you leave this mess on my desk? Why did you not clean up these dresses? Why did you not do this? Now, I'm not saying we don't teach her responsibility. Trust me there. But I'm saying, how many times did she do something out of a genuine concern for daddy? Maybe she saw I was stressed. Maybe she thought that leaving this on daddy's desk was going to make him happy. And I jumped to conclusions, allowed outside forces to affect the way that I treated my own fucking daughter. Fuck me, fuck you, fuck that. And now I took it out on her. That poor innocent little soul that just wanted to make daddy's life a little bit better. It's my responsibility to be a good father and learn to separate those things. Again, like I said, it's awesome for the men in Uncaged or anyone else. If you have a friend group where you can be, transparent and open and vulnerable about your emotions and your feelings and not bottle things up. I'm talking about two separate things. I'm not telling you to bottle this shit up and walk around like your life isn't difficult sometimes. But I'm talking about the way you allow things to affect that innocent relationship, that bond that you have with your child. That is your responsibility. Now, part of that, maybe to help segue that, is to be honest with them, to be vulnerable with them. If you're having a bad day, if you're having a hard day, it's okay to tell your children that. I don't care how old they are, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however, 15. Maybe that open line of communication is important to them so that they can understand, A, how they can help daddy, but B, to be a little bit more forgiving when things are a little bit more difficult, when you are a little bit more recluse, when you are a little bit quieter, when you are a little bit antsy. At least help give them the opportunity to understand that daddy's not mad at them for leaving a piece of paper on the ground. I mean, so you've got to think about what we're doing here when it comes to molding children. You are setting the standard of how a father and a husband is supposed to be. If you can't fathom the weight of that responsibility, your children are watching the way you treat their mother. Again, whether you are still together, separated, divorced, what, they're watching. And it's your fucking responsibility to show them what that is supposed to look like. They are seeing how to treat. A, you're teaching your boys how to treat another woman. And B, as a husband or father of a daughter, you're teaching your daughters what they can accept from a husband. That doesn't break your fucking heart based on maybe some of the things that you've done in the past and show you some room for improvement for some of the things that you can do in the future. It's a tough one. I've fucked up in the past. I've done some stuff that I would fucking break someone's legs over if they've done that to their mom, to Lottie. And that's my responsibility. And now I've got to prove to her what a man looks like when it comes to how to treat their spouse. But again, if you're fathering a little boy, you're teaching him how to act. I really hate these different dynamics in parenting boys versus girls and how they treat certain things, and I'm not going to get into it. Um, as far as what's acceptable for little boys to do and talk about and be proud about and think about versus what girls are. But if you teach a little shithead how to go be a piece of shit to their future wife, fuck you. Because guess what? My daughter is going to grow up and marry one of those men. And I'll be damned if I got to come over there and teach your fucking son how to be a fucking man. That is your responsibility, as it is my responsibility to teach my daughter how to be a good fucking wife, but also for this video as a man to a daughter, I have to teach her what right and wrong looks like. I have to teach her what a good man, what a good husband looks like, so that she can leave some piece of shit at the first sign of who the fuck that motherfucker really is. We're not going to get down with that. She's going to have a real fucking good example of what a husband's supposed to look like. That's my responsibility, and I promise you, I'm going to stick to it. So now it's your responsibility to go out there and figure out what type of child you want to bring up into this society. Boy, girl, you name it. They're looking to you for one thing or another, and it's your responsibility to show it to them. And, with that said, there's a lot of things when it comes to parenting that I don't know how to do, that you don't know how to do, that we don't know how to do. My wife and I have conversations all the time. What do we do here? How do we figure this out? And, it's kind of a joke, but it's not really a joke. And it's not meant to be an excuse. It's just this common conversation that we have when we're facing these new uncharted territories, these new uncharted waters. Like, we're first-time parents. Lottie is our first. So when we're experiencing things, a lot of times we don't know how to do this. Now, we can kind of compile my wife, her history, her life, what she has seen in growing up. We can compare it to what I know, think, feel, what I've experienced, what my past has looked like, and we can have conversations on what we believe worked and didn't work. But at the end of the day, with Lottie being, our one and only, but our first for, this example's sake, is we've never been through this before. We've never had to learn. We've never learned this before. So we're figuring the fuck out as we go. And part of that, or the reason that I bring this up, rather, is that's an easy excuse. I don't know, man. We've never done this before. And we can leave it at that and let it be an excuse to just not figuring it out, not being responsible to finding a solution to the problem that's at hand, to robbing my daughter of the opportunity to experience whatever it is that she's facing, whether it's a learning lesson, whether it's a success for her, whether it's a failure, whatever the case is. With us allowing an excuse of, we've never been here before, or we don't know how to do this, because you might have 3 or 4 kids, and you might be dealing with a kid that you just had, and it might be a situation that you didn't experience with the first 3. My point is allowing, we've never done this before, or we don't know how to fix this, allowing that excuse to just let things run rampant in your life is a failure on your part. It is literally your responsibility to figure it out. Now, I'm not saying that you are going to go try something new and it's going to be a success 100% of the times. There's going to be some times where it doesn't work out the way that you intended on it to. But just sitting around waiting on things to magically fix themselves ain't the fucking answer. Sitting here telling yourself in the side of the head that, you've never done this before, so it's okay that you don't know how to do it, That's not okay. It is literally your responsibility as the role model and the caretaker of that little fucking human being. It is your responsibility to go figure it the fuck out. It blows my mind, and it can come to anything. It can come to your work, your job, your business, organization you're building. It can come to sports. It can come to TV shows or movies, or it can come to trivia. It can come to any ignorant thing that, like, you don't know what you don't know till you know it, and so you have enough desire to go out in the world and figure it out. You know how to fix your business if something goes wrong. Oh, something happens inside your organization you don't know how to do. You're gonna go do research and you're gonna figure out how to fix it. Oh, there's some sports team that a new rule comes out, or someone gets injured. Who's the backup? What's the play gonna be? Since this, that, whatever. Maybe it's economics or politics. Okay, what's going to happen here? This, that, whatever. Okay, you're learning how to day trade. You're learning about crypto. You're figuring all this shit out because it's important to you, because it means something to you, because you give a fuck about it. But you're faced with a position with this creature that you fucking took it upon yourself to fucking bring into society, and you hit a roadblock and you just give the fuck up and say, well, fuck, never been here before. Fuck you. It's literally your responsibility to go figure out how to fix the problem. Go find the solution to the problem. It is your responsibility. Your fucking children never asked you to bring them into life. I'm sure they're fucking grateful that you did. But that was a choice you made. And you sitting here saying, like, oh, I've never been through this before, so I don't know how to do it. That's a fucking cop-out. And you're a pussy for not going out there and figuring out how to find out the answers, the solutions to the problems that you, your spouse, or your fucking children are having. Fuck you on all three accounts. I don't care which one it is. Something comes up. It's your first worst, right? It's the first time you've ever experienced something like this. You've never been through this. You don't know what to do. This is your first child, yada, yada, yada. All these fucking excuses you have in your head. Those are all excuses. So you can be a part of the problem, or you can be a part of the solution. Which one are you going to be a part of? Because the more you fucking let these excuses run through your brain, you're just kicking the can down the road. It's going to need to be solved at some point, or even worse, it goes unsolved because becomes a fucking problem in your life, your wife's life, or your child's life. So which one are you going to let that be? As a man, which one are you going to let that be? Are you going to help solve the problem all the way here when the buck stops with you because you put in a little bit of fucking effort to go figure it the fuck out? You'll do it for all these other aspects of your life, but you won't fucking do it for your children? Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. So, children are blessings. I can't tell you how much Lottie means to me. However, kind of like what we talked about before, these blessings only work or only get viewed in your soul. They only get treated or looked at as blessings if you like actively work on it. We are humans. With everything else set aside, men are humans. There's a lot of things that until you learn to control it, you can't control. That is your responsibility to start figuring out like where your shortcomings are. And with this call or this, episode specifically, we'll talk about when it comes to parenting. It is your responsibility to figure out where you are lacking and how you could be better. But it's going to happen. And so for you, as you go down this path, these children will make you a better man. Because these lessons might be here to learn based on this episode alone on how to parent your children. But the more that you grow in this aspect, it's only going to make you a better man. But it only works if you do. Like personal development, personal growth only works if you do. It's very, very... It's very hard for me to believe that you can go out there and do a bunch of great things, but be a piece of shit to your kids. And I don't give a fuck if you're separated or divorced. That's a fucking excuse. It's very hard for me to believe that you can be a good husband when you're a piece of shit dad. It's very hard for me to believe that you can run a successful organization if you're a piece of shit to your kids. It's very hard for me to believe that you can be a good fucking friend to me when you're a piece of shit to those human beings that you brought into this world. So as you go through this, there's opportunities in your life to become a better man in all aspects for yourself, in your business, in your marriage, in your friendships, in your parenthood, your fatherhood. There's opportunities here where this will bleed over into every other aspect of your life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. You start cutting corners on the way you fucking parent, you'll cut corners on the way you treat your wife, you'll cut your corners on the way you treat yourself, you'll cut corners on the way you treat your business, you'll cut corners on every fucking thing you do. It's going to be ingrained into who you fucking are. How do you walk around with your chest poked out, head held high, shoulders back, knowing you're a fucking piece of shit parent? It's going to bleed over. So this shit only works if you do. All the rest of this full ecosystem that you have that you call your life, it only works if you do. You've got to be putting in work in all areas. Work-life balance, work-life integration, life-work balance, like whatever the fuck you want to call it. It only works if you do. It is only going to benefit you in every area of your life when you do also start focusing on being a better dad. Daddy? It's one of the best things I get called. Two different situations. But daddy is one of the fucking coolest titles I've ever been given. It's one of the coolest names I ever get called. It means more to me than a lot of fucking things. It's my responsibility as a man to fulfill that vision that my innocent little daughter has in her head of what I'm supposed to be. It's my responsibility to be that for her. My daughter, she's into the princesses and the princes and the kings and the queens. It's my responsibility to be a king in her fucking eyes. It's my responsibility. It's not hers. I've got to fill those shoes. I'm the one that's going to put in the work to do that. Last thing I'm going to talk about before we hop off here, I think this has been a good episode, is like children, believe it or not, can help you with efficiency. There's a picture of my wife and daughter right in front of me. Like for the last 5 years, I've had it up in my office and I just stare at it. It's on the other side of the camera. It's on the other side of like anything and everything I do. That is like literally like my focal point. And I said this on a roundtable call for the Men in Uncaged the other day, and I haven't said it in a while, and it stands to be restated multiple times, is the fact that like when I am away from them, like when I'm in the office or when I'm away on a retreat, or if I'm at a meeting or whatever the case is, when I'm not with them, when I am working, it's my responsibility to give it everything I have, to give it 100%. Now, I'm not saying you got to come home with nothing but W's under your belt. You're going to take some losses some days. Some days just ain't going to be your days. Like, there's going to be some days that you're inefficient. But children help you stay efficient. When I look at those pictures, when the background on my phone, like they're everywhere I look, and I don't say that in a bad way. It's my responsibility to look my wife and my daughter in the eyes when I come home from work, whatever that looks like, whether I'm in here, where I'm out there, whatever the case is. And I have to look them in the eyes and be like, I was away from you guys from 4 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 72 hours, whatever. And I give it a solid 80% effort. How welcoming you think that's going to be? How do I look at my child in the eyes. Be like, hey, I robbed time from you. This life that we have that is very limited. I mean, how long is she going to live in my house? How long am I going to be around her to where she wants to love on me and hug on me and kiss on me and sit in my lap and fall asleep on my chest and be around me and give me kisses? And how long do I have of that? And so I have to look her in the eye and be like, hey, I robbed time away from you today because I spent time away from you working, but I only gave it 65% of my effort. I went around, I fucked off. I wasn't paying attention to things the way I should. I was lazy. I made excuses. I gave up on a few things. How the fuck am I going to do that? How do I go fucking take time away from her to go fuck it all off? To fuck off 35% of it. Children can help you be efficient if you keep things like that in top of mind. Fuck you. If you steal time away from those precious children of yours to go give half-ass effort, to be part of the potential that you are meant to be, to be part of the responsibility as a man that you have to set a good example to those children on what good work ethic looks like. Fuck you. That's on you, dude. How do you go to sleep at night? Knowing that maybe you still clock in at a W-2 job. You spent 8 hours away from there being inefficient, stealing time from them, not focused on how to better yourself as a fucking man, as a fucking husband, as a fucking father. What are you doing? Time is the only thing we can't get back. You can make more money. All right, cool. You bombed some of your calls. You can make more calls. There's tasks that you can do. You can call the damn leads. You can call more leads. There's other things you can do, but what you can't do is get this time back. So when you're out there fucking off, and efficiency doesn't necessarily mean, let me just efficiency doesn't, or what we're pertaining to here doesn't necessarily need to generate results. Or actually, it does need to generate results. It doesn't need to. You can spend if you're in sales, some fucking days are hot and heavy. Some days fucking suck. Some days you'll walk away with 100% close rates, and some days you'll walk away with 0. What I'm talking about here isn't the fact that you got to feel like a piece of shit on days that you walked away with a 0% close rate, because there's other factors that come into things. I'm not saying that. If you've been on any of the Uncaged calls, you know it's a math problem to me. I'm talking about how you handled the situation. If you kept making more and more calls, you kept pushing, you kept trying, you kept grinding, you gave it 100% of your fucking effort, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your effort. How efficient are you being when you're away from your children? That's what I'm talking about. I don't care what it is. You work with your hands? Cool. How hard did you fucking work? Did you make a bunch of excuses? Did you leave a job site half fucking done because you were just fucking over it? What corners did you cross? What was it that you did that you know that as a real fucking man you shouldn't have done? Now, how do we create this mindset shift to where we think about those moments in the moment? An excuse pops into your head. Boom, it's instantly gone. Because as soon as that excuse starts to show itself, you already know, nah, dog, I'm not robbing time from her to fucking appease you, to make my life fucking easier. Because guess what? You're going to pick your hard. Because just because it's easier now, it's going to make it harder in the long run. You choose your hard now, it's going to be easier in the long run. It's up to you. But while you're dealing with that conundrum in your head, just know that you're right now, when you're appeasing, when you're honoring, when you're even considering that excuse, you are robbing time from that loved one of yours. For me, Little Miss Lottie, stealing fucking time from Lottie. I'm a piece of shit for that. I'm not going to stand it. I'm not going to be here for that. It's not what I'm about. I'm going to look for ways to get better and better and better. I'm going to shut those excuses down sooner and sooner and sooner. I'm going to look for more and more signs to be more efficient, because I promise you, if I'm taking time away from those two girls of mine, I'm going to be 100% motherfucker. That's it. That's my only option. That's my responsibility. So, guys, I hope this has been a good episode for you. Like I said, kind of randomly ended up in a series here about your responsibility as, to yourself, your responsibility to your wife, and then your responsibility to your children. I hope this meant something to you. As you guys know, I don't know if I said it at the beginning, but the Uncaged podcast, it's all about the journey to the top 1%. And how do we get there? It's by becoming 1% better daily. So if this episode helps you get 1% better, if it helps you shift a perspective, if it helps you understand something, if it helps you unlock something, whatever the case is, if you don't mind, spread the word about this, spread the message. That's all we're asking for here. Uncaged is a movement, and we are here just to get it in front of as many like-minded men as we can, because we believe in the power of surrounding yourself with like-minded men. We believe in the power of our ecosystem. We believe that you are the average of the people that you surround yourself with, and so we are looking for other people that believe that same thing, that are looking for that journey to the top 1%. So appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. If you want any more information about Uncaged or what we have to offer, the movement, or what we can bring to the table, how we can add value to your life, please go to uncagedcrew.com. But we appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.